pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, we need to make an addition to the agenda under new business. We have information to approve a public visioning workshop grant that Bill Warner submitted. So I have a motion to add to new business.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, public comment. Yes.
Good evening, members of the Board of Selectmen and citizens of Haddam. My name is Judy Goldfarb. I live on Lieutenant Chubell Road, and we've been really concerned about the traffic, the road conditions, the project, the bridge project, the Dublin Hill Bridge project. More than a year ago, we met at the firehouse with members of the board, with people from the federal government who were giving us the grant, with engineers, and we were promised clear and concise communication and safety pieces that would be added to the road so that we could travel a road that's not meant for everyday traffic with lots of heavy-duty vehicles as well as regular vehicles. We haven't gotten any of that. Some of us have spoken with engineers, with the project director, have sent emails to the town offices. And what's really unique about this project is that in order for us to get to the center of Haddam or Higganum, we have to go through Middletown. We have to go a roundabout route to do that. We have to be on Middletown roads. And there's been no communication really with the town of Haddam and the town of Middletown about how we can travel those roads safely. And we're concerned about the fact that there have been delays on the project, and this may go into the winter. And that is an incredibly hazardous road in the winter. There are some ice deposits that will not make it safe for school buses, for oil and propane deliveries, for mail deliveries, for just general traffic. And so we really want to know what the town is going to do, because as elected officials, your first job is to keep us safe.
So as far as communication goes with the city of Middletown, I've had a number of communications with them, asking them to work on the road. Basically, the answer has been, we've done what we can. I've asked them to, it's a gravel road, that there's very few residents that travel it. I've notified them several times, and that's the answer that I'm getting back. They were told at one point not to work on the road, again, because there's so many few residents that are there. And they understand the safety concerns about our residents traveling. But Middletown is an independent town, and I've spoken to the Public Works Director there, and for many, many months, just so you know, a lot of my emails were ignored, and I also spoke to the Mayor's office. So I don't expect the project's scheduled to be done, I'm pretty sure, the end of October. From what I've been told, that project, I do not expect that to go into the winter time. They're moving along. I know that they just put some footings in and the bridge is being set and the things that they're working on. So the updates that I've been getting, I'm not getting a delay. So I'm not sure what else to do. I'm not disputing the fact of the road being safe, but to work with another town, and I've asked DOT to step in and do it, and everyone's telling me they're doing what they can.
Well, one of the recommendations we thought is, could there be a person from the board that could meet with somebody from Middletown on a regular basis, with somebody from our neighborhood, to see, because there have been some real near catastrophic misses. And if bad weather comes in, and we seem to be a month ahead on weather right now, it seems to be getting colder, and winter could set in really soon before the project is
No, I understand.
finished. And what's going to be done to prepare for it while the weather's nice.
I'll have to reach out to them and ask them what plans they would have, but I mean, granted, it's New England, we could get snow in October, or we could get snow in December, and I understand that. But they knew the project window of getting this done. So, I mean, I'll relay those concerns to the project manager and see. So,
And when will we hear about what kind of communication is taking place? Because we don't hear.
it's not normal for any road project or construction project for them to reach out unless there's going to be some type of delay. So when the road is closed, so for example, when we work on McTye Road right now, when the road is closed, you're not going to be able to get through, everyone gets something in their mailbox to let them know they can't go through. Obviously, all the residents on Dublin Hill and Lieutenant Ship will know you can't go through because the road is closed. So, sorry, Sean, I want to be able to look at it, sorry. So they won't communicate unless there is a delay or something. And at that time, then the letter will come out from the contractor and or the project manager and from the town to let you know what those delays are. But as of now, and I spoke to them this morning, everything is still on schedule. So, yes.
Liz, every time it rains, there are
Can I,
massive
we need a
potholes.
name. Sorry, do I need the name?
Johnson from Lieutenant Shuba Road. Every time there's a big storm, there are massive potholes filled up the driveway. Could we at least fix the Haddam portion of the dirt road, have the town take a look at that?
Yes, they're
We had a
supposed to.
private citizen go with his tractor to the road.
Yeah, the town of Haddam, town crew has been instructed to work on it. I will tell them again in the morning, absolutely. Yes.
Linda Jones, my husband and I have been asking several times, and we spoke to you, my husband spoke to you, then we were directed to go to the gentleman at the Department of Public Works. To no avail. We need a catch basin at the end of Lieutenant Shuba Road because of the ice buildups, and we've gotten nothing, we've gotten nowhere.
You won't get any road work done in Lieutenant Shubel. Actually, I'm working on, if any of you know, we just had a town meeting to approve bonding. So Dublin Hill Road and Lieutenant Shubel Road are on the next list to be done. So drainage work in the town is being done, ongoing. They're not going to go ahead and do that because it all needs to be dug up and paved and fixed. So the goal is, once the bridge is done, then fix the drainage on Dublin Hill and fix the drainage on Lieutenant Shubel.
So that is the next project in the works.
That is the
Getting
next,
paved.
that will be done, it's scheduled to go for spring of next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Cynthia Castro, 24 Coldforth Lane. I would just like to go on record as saying that it was really poor planning on the town's part to not have done something about the detour prior to the construction starting. That really was a mistake, a big mistake. And so people started using that road because they have no choice. We have no choice. There's no other outlet. And we ran into not only potholes, but divots, and, you know, it's like being bounced around like a doll, you know, when you're driving down that road. And we also didn't know, because I never drive that way, never did before. And just before the construction started, I did, and I actually called you, because it was appalling. And who knew it was a lot of dirt road. So a lot of us got together, and if it wasn't for us getting together and calling the town garage, calling other people, you know, in the town hall, calling Middletown, people from Middletown, nothing would have been done. So eventually, they took a grader and they went down the worst part of the road, and it got rid of a lot of divots and some of the potholes. But as someone else just said, as soon as it rains, all the potholes come back. And I know that our town is supposed to be taking care of the Dublin hillside, but even before this project started, I was the one person, and maybe other people did it and I didn't know, but I would call the town garage probably once a month and say, please, could you come fix the potholes? Because it was terrible. You know, you're driving like this down the road to avoid your car going in a hole. Well, it's double that now, it's triple that now, because now we don't only have it on Dublin Hill, the part we can use. We have it on the rest of Dublin Hill, the River Road, and of course, Freeman Road is a nightmare. So I hope you never, I know you may not be here again, but I hope this town never plans a project like this without forethought. And I know when we spoke on the phone, you said, yes, you had talked to Middletown and they were going to do this. As far as I'm concerned, they did nothing. And
There was, just to interrupt you, Cynthia, not to, there was a lot of planning that went in. We had a meeting, and Middletown was, we have emergency services we have to worry about, not only with the roads. Middletown was invited by DOT, because it's a state project, to attend all of those meetings. And DOT was instructed us, and I had, even though the town engineers were not part of the project, the town engineers attended the meetings with me, just to make sure everything was orchestrated with the detour. I mean, this project started when Melissa was in office, so this has been in the works for a very long period of time. They knew about the detour, they knew about all of that. To try to get Middletown to cooperate, to do what they needed to do, they ignored many requests, not only from the town, but from the state. The forethought was there from the town, but the city of Middletown did not want to cooperate.
well,
I mean, and I don't know what else to do about it.
I don't know how long the project could have been delayed and what work might have been done, public relations wise with Middletown, but it should have been done beforehand. And now we're stuck in, hopefully this project will end when it was supposed to, but it was behind when it started.
We
so.
knew when we started it was not a good detour. I mean, it's a very inconvenient detour. It's to go all the way around. There's a lot of patience that goes through. Unfortunately, other than short of just closing the road forever, it's always aggravation when you have to be inconvenienced. And I understand that. And I understand the condition of the road. But other than reaching out to them, calling DOT, talking to Dan Drew, talking to Bill Russo, talking to Bob Russo, and having all those things done, I don't know what else to do.
Well, maybe, I think Judy's idea is a good one. If there could be a representative from the board and a representative from our neighborhood who could go meet with people.
I'm highly doubtful that they'll do that. I'm willing to ask the question, but they normally don't get involved with residents, and I'm pretty sure Melissa can speak for herself. She also spoke to the city of Middletown. So it's not.
We should try again.
I absolutely would try again, but it's another town,
So we also need to get our own town on the job, fixing the holes for the length of
That I will address in the morning. Yes.
Hi, Melissa, Scott Thompson, I will suggestion at this point, there's nothing we're going to do to change the condition of the road except improve it minorly. There's nothing we're going to be able to do about moving a date on the bridge. Just cross our fingers and hope it gets done. I think what Judy's asking for is a mechanism to make the residents feel warm and fuzzy. That's all at this point, because I've accepted the fact it sucks and I got to do it every day.
I have asked Coast Jensen to have another meeting in to do that, and I have been told that unless
I'm sorry, who?
the engineers on the project,
Yeah.
that unless there is a delay in the project, that it is not their practice to notify residents because there's no delay. So they don't, I understand what you're saying, but they don't see the need to do it. I will relay all the information again, but at this point,
What's your most recent prediction in terms of when it's going to be done?
I think it's the end of October. I think it's October 24th.
Okay.
Because that's not the date on the sign.
I walk through
Whatever
every
the-
day and I don't build bridges for a living, but no way is that going to be
Well,
done.
it's being prefabbed. The bridge isn't being built on site.
I understand.
Yeah. So I know the footings are in, and I do know that there was an issue, although I was told it was not a delay in time, because the ground could not support one of the footings that they thought that they were gonna put in. So,
But do you get updates from them?
there's weekly updates that Chris Corsa goes to, and I do get, an update from them if anything falls behind. I've not gotten a correspondence if anything's fallen behind.
I'd like to add to this conversation because I did receive an email from a resident out there who had talked to the engineer on the project and also talked to the contractor responsible for the bridge construction, who was very concerned regarding the schedule on the bridge. So there seems to be some kind of disconnect between the residents, the engineer, and the town. So it would be great for maybe you could forward those updates to Larry and I can help disseminate. Larry can, if he gets any emails, can help reach out to residents.
We can put the minutes of the meeting and the updates on the website.
That would help
in
in
doing
doing
that.
that.
So if that would help. You know, there is a way, just so you all know, to go onto the town website and put your email in. And anytime there's a communication on anything, it will come to you automatically. So if it's a communication that you want on Dublin Hill Bridge, you want a communication on Wenham, Board of Finance meeting is, or that type of thing. Anytime anything gets added to the website, it'll automatically come to your email, so you don't necessarily have to go to look or remember to look for it. So I will find out. I got it. Yes?
Cliff Potter from North Branford. In 2 days, we're going to celebrate a very solemn, sad day, 9/11. People call it our Pearl Harbor, but unfortunately it's not, because civilians were involved. Pearl Harbor was a military attack on military ships. The Twin Towers were bad people attacking good civilians, and the firemen and the policemen that died. It hurts even more when Melissa doesn't render proper respect to the flag. She's on the clock. The proper respect is to stand, and it's in all the flag etiquette. I understand there's people here who probably disagree with me constantly, and I respect their right to do that. But I'm offended. I'm offended for every soldier that has died that would gladly stand up and salute that flag if he was still alive. I'm here to represent all those people that can't do that. I just don't understand why she can't stand to give proper respect to the flag. She's got an issue with something. She can do that on her own time. That's what's wrong with this country. Everybody's got their own agenda. The day after 9/11, people started buying flags, and we are a great country again. Look where we've come back to. Everybody's got their own little agenda, their own little world, their own little problems. Put your big girl pants on, get this country back where it belongs, and let's move forward and make this country what it should be. Everybody's got an attitude. The day after 9/11, we were all grieving. We still have to remember. Why do people stop remembering? Why do tattered flags still fly in houses? Come on, people, get back into the groove. Those people had no reason to die. They were not military. They were civilians putting food on the table, which they no longer can do. If we allow ourselves to get hardened to that, then we've lost everything. I will make the pilgrimage here to challenge that woman because it offends me deeply. That's my personal feelings and why I have those feelings. I'd rather be in North Branford tonight because we're celebrating our lip sync with our policemen. But this was more important to me because in 2 days, it's going to be a very somber day that we can never forget. And I hope you people realize that, because it's never going to go away. It's not a Pearl Harbor. It's a murder. Every one of those people were murdered. They were doing a job. They were murdered. The soldiers trying to defend the country were killed in action. Different title. Yes, they're doing a military job. Killed in action. But those civilians were murdered. And so every one of those lives, we've got to keep it fresh in our minds what happened, and we've got to get this country united again. So suck it up, stiffen up, and start getting this country back where it belongs. Or else we're not going to have a country. And, you know, this is all we have. And she always says, well, welcome to East Haddam. I came back, or Haddam. I came to the Haddam Neck Fair, had a great time. It's a great town you got here. You've got the Connecticut River. Don't lose sight of what you got, because every time we allow things to happen in a negative way, you lose a little bit more and a little bit more. Go out, buy a fresh flag, put it up on 9/11, and remember what that flag stands for, and render the proper respects to it, because it means those people didn't die in vain. They were murdered, but we got to regroup and save this country. Thank you.
In 2002, the Charter Revision Commission clarified section 4.2, where you have to be a resident to hold an elected office, adding that any elected official whose primary residence ceased to be in town shall thereupon cease to hold that office immediately. This was reaffirmed at a referendum with the new revised 2017 charter and approved by resident at the referendum. Primary residence is what the address the person uses on official legal documents. On August 29, 2019, In documents filed with our town clerk and on an official state tax conveyance form, after selling your house, you listed your new primary residence as 292 SW Vista Lake Drive, Port St. Lucie, Florida. As such, and according to a charter, you have ceased to be first selectman since that date. That provision was added on purpose because we had a situation like this before, and where a person could sell a house and move somewhere else and continue to serve on a board and not be a resident, So at this juncture, I believe that any action taken by you at this point is nil and void.
Well, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Schwenk. That is a second home property for me. I'm allowed to own, and it is a residence. If you look at the deed of what I purchased, you also see it's in the state of Florida, and I do not have homestead because I live at 272 Corny Road in Higganum, Connecticut. And if you'd like to follow me home tonight, and every night between now and November 19th, you feel free to do so.
You did list
I'm glad that my
272.
personal business
Okay.
of buying a piece of property, no, I'm gonna answer your question,
I agree. Okay, when you're
is
done?
where I am allowed, I am free to own other property than in the town of
Yeah,
Haddam.
but you put your residence. on the
I did not
official
put my
form
residence.
As being.
I absolutely did not put it on the form. I put it as where bills can be sent to and mailed to. And if you'd like to see the deed, and you'd like to see the closing documents of my personal business, to see that my husband and I bought a second home in the state of Florida, I am more than happy to do so.
This is something that we try to prevent by putting this in a charter
I'm-
specifically. You could build it, you could get a tent.
Are you not renting?
Get a tent.
Are you not renting?
I'm living in town.
Okay. What makes the difference between this and that? Can I ask that question?
Permanent residence on the form, it says the Florida.
Or what's your license still say? You're still there.
But you don't live in that house anymore.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, I live in the town.
When you had a house and you lost the house, does that make it that you're not a resident?
I am a resident. My legal address is Haddam, Connecticut.
And so is hers, on her license.
On the state tax form, it says your permanent address is Florida.
It is not my permanent address, it is a mailing address.
Then why wouldn't you
If
get
you'd
it?
like to prove it is different than that, you be my guest. But I am
If
telling
this
you
is
right
what-
now
This is just crap.
that I live at 272 Corny Road, and that is where I
Don't worry
live.
about what
Can I see your license?
Right, please.
My driver's license? Yeah, it says
It's a
7
family
Country
show.
Walk because I just sold my house.
That's what I'm saying, you don't live in
This is a
it,
zoo.
don't walk in.
This is a
Official
crock,
primary
is what it is.
Okay, so
I'm just saying.
I'm not, you know what? I'm moving forward because I am so tired of
It's
this
just garbage,
pettiness
absolutely.
and
garbage.
ridiculousness that has been going on with you, and I know nothing, I can't even answer you.
Right.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Good evening, Kate Anderson. I'm going to take us in a totally different direction now. I just wanted to thank the town and all the volunteers who put on Haddam River Days on Saturday night. In my opinion, it was one of the best community events we've had in a long time, and I know a lot of hours and dedication go into that event. Robin Munster pulling all the permits, the fire department, the EMTs, the resident state troopers who all show up to make sure that we're safe, and the Haddam Lions Club providing exceptional traffic support in and out. The DEEP officers even commended us for how well the event was run. They love to see everybody out. All the organizations who came and fundraised for food. It was a really great event. Would love to see more stuff like that happen in town. So thank you for always supporting that year after year. Thank you.
Yes.
On a positive note as well, in the online paper recently, there was a letter from Ronald Munster, and I think the one thing that I enjoyed about the Haddam River Days that was really great to see was the kids were out running around, kicking soccer balls, throwing footballs, just running around, having a great time for several hours waiting for the event to start, for the fireworks to start. They weren't sitting around using electronic devices and playing games on their computers. It was great to see kids out getting exercise and doing things outside. It was a great event. So I don't know if Rob is here. I just want to say that I know that's my daughter-in-law, but I want to just compliment all the people who worked on getting that thing so well organized, and it was a great event.
Thank you. Yes.
Chip Frey, 27 Crabapple Corners, Haddam. I have a letter I'd like to read to you, Selectmen, to Ms. Millardo. I'm writing this letter to request a tax abatement. I pay as a resident and business owner almost $10,000 a year. Over the years, a paid and elected official of this town representing Haddam was asked on a public forum at Facebook to recommend a local electrician. Although the Facebook page is titled, "If you live in Haddam," many residents and others considering moving to this town consulted for opinions and recommendations. Many think of this as a town board of selectmen page, since its moderator is a select person. While it is our right to recommend whomever we want, you would think that someone would have a history with the recommendation, or at least some good knowledge of that person. Well, Ms. Schlag, on more than one occasion, has recommended that I not be used. I don't care who gets recommended, but local seems to be a buzzword here. Also to say, I might quote, that after I was recommended by someone, Ms. Schlag responded, "No, not Chip Frey." That is undermining and not promoting our local businesses that pay taxes. Also, when an out-of-town or not local electrician is recommended, why not comment, "Not local"? I have on several occasions been asked why that comment was used, and I only had one answer for that. She's angry at the world and has no experience with my company. When a paid elected official acts such as this, my taxes are not representing me or my opportunity to make a living and to grow my business. I deserve a tax abatement. This comes down to my $10,000 a year I pay in taxes versus her $262 a year she pays. Might be 63. The Office of Selectmen holds a degree of integrity, and her actions are damaging to economic growth and discouraging others to move to town after they witness this negativity online. I work in a lot of surrounding towns, from Guilford to Saybrook up to Middletown. And I hear, we were looking at Haddam, it's a nice town, but the Facebook page was real negative, and you have that wacko disrespecting our flag. Ms. Schlag couldn't pay her taxes or mortgage while receiving a monthly check for rent as a property owner. Now I want to know how she feels qualified to run for the Board of Finance when she couldn't handle her own personal finances. Please consider this a request of a 25% tax abatement per year for the last 4 and the next 4. And who knows how many other damaging comments she has made as a selectman. Chip Frey.
Any other public comment? Approval of minutes for the July 8th meeting. Motion to approve. I'll make the motion. All in favor? Aye. Approval of the July 25th minutes. Motion to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, there was a mistake under public comment. Ed Schwing commented that the first selectman followed the charter, the process should be followed. That provision is there so that one person should not be allowed to hire and fire. That's what the comment was. It doesn't make any sense in its current iteration. That's the only change for that one.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have tax refunds. Property and real estate taxes refund of $5,417.45. with personal property refund of $198.06, with multiple motor vehicle refunds for $4,173.32, for a grand total of $9,788.83.
I'll make the motion to accept all those tax refunds.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, there is a letter. You should have gotten the backup for the numbers. I have the letter.
It just says that she was over the 55,000.
All right, so for Gloria Maynard, she's, the threshold for a tax, for elderly tax relief is $55,000. She's over by $668. Traditionally, we approve anyone within like a $1,500 criteria.
I'll make a motion that we allow Gloria Maynard to be part of the tax rebates, elderly tax rebates.
Other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
An appointment for Robbie Marshall to be hired, I believe effective October, first Monday in October. That's she applied for the part-time tax collector position. Her hourly start rate will be $20 an hour, and her work week will be 20 hours a week. Motion to approve. Any discussion?
Yeah, next time it would be helpful to get the, any information on the person ahead of time, so we can make an informed decision. I've asked that before.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, under new business. So there was an error when the budget was done. We need to put a request in for the Board of Finance. When Jessica Campbell took over for the municipal agent, the salary needs to be separated between her salary as social services director and the municipal agent, so that we can show that we are in compliance with the state statute. So the $10,000 that needs to go in on an annual basis was not put in the line item. Therefore, we're running in the red right now in that particular line item. So we need to correct that. So I need to go to the Board of Finance next week and ask for that, those funds to be moved over for the municipal agent. So I can have a motion to approve that. Any discussion?
There is enough money for the rest, for the remainder of the year, if we move the 10,000. It's not an additional raise or anything. This is within her same pay
It's
rate.
within her same pay rate. This is just make the line, because otherwise we're gonna run in the red. So knowing that it is an error and it should have been done and it wasn't caught, I'd like to fix it now so that we're just compliant and it's working the way it should.
And is this a new position that she was given?
No, we appointed her municipal agent well over a year ago.
No, but she's doing two jobs now, then, correct?
She's always been doing social services. She's always been doing both.
But I
Since
understand,
Eleanor left.
right, and I understand she was given health insurance?
Mhm. She's a full-time employee.
Okay.
She's working 30 hours a week.
Right. Technically, that's a new position. It's two positions, I understand, with one person, but technically that's a new position. It's something that we should have discussed during the budget season. Again, I have no problem with Jessica, she does an amazing job, but it's just the minutia of the charter again. But I will make a motion to ask the Board of Finance to transfer the $10,000 from the social services department to the municipal agent line.
So, for the record, Melissa, we approved Jessica to be both the social services director and the municipal agent, which put her to 30 hours well over a year and a half ago. So she has been a full-time employee. There's been no change in that. So just, there's nothing new that was created. We voted to make her the municipal agent when Eleanor Farrell resigned. All those in favor? Aye. All right, we need to authorize the use of a special license for DEEP to allow the town to have access to portions of Coccaponcet State Forest to initiate the rehabilitation of the water drainage system and repair bridge number 060016 over the Beaver Meadow Brook.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. The Board of Education voted to approve the purchase of the town of HES, so there's a resolution to approve the final version of the Haddam Elementary School purchase agreement. So I have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, there's a couple documents missing that we received on Friday. In the purchase and sale agreement, there's no Exhibit 1.1, which is actually one of the most important documents. It has the quote-unquote survey, or the delineation of the properties. Also, just of note, I think it's important that it was originally discussed that it would be 10 plus or minus acres for the school property. This now says 9. And also, it says that we have until tomorrow to complete to hand over a survey. Did we do a survey?
We did not do a survey, and we've met with the land trust. So the entire piece of property has been surveyed out, and it's been 9 plus or minus acres. I don't remember 10, but if that's what you remember. We are going to work out the details with easements and what we need with, we've already met with the council for the land trust and the president of the land trust to do a survey once we're ready to proceed. There was not enough time, nor do we have the need to do a formal survey before the closing of the school. So once the property is closed upon, the town and the land trust will work together. The land trust is going to do a survey, and the town and the land trust can work out where those boundaries are going to be, because the town is going to need easements from the land trust and vice versa.
So they're fine, they don't need a
No,
survey?
there's no survey.
The other thing in this agreement is the due diligence period ends tomorrow at 5 p.m. Has anybody walked the property, walked through the building in the last day?
Not in the last day, but last Thursday, Bill Warner walked the property. And we will walk the property again before closing.
Did he go into the building?
Yes.
Because it was brought up at a meeting that there were problems, the building was all closed up with no
Yep.
air or anything
Yep.
on, so there's
Nope,
no problem.
we've had several, well, there was a problem. So the Board of Education had promised to keep the building to be in the condition that it was. They were supposed to be cutting the grass, they were neglecting to do that, so we had to get after them after that. There was also concern of mold building up because the air conditioning was shut down and the building was tight.
Did they fire it back up again?
They turned it back on, although not the entire building has air conditioning. And that building, I've had Deb Talbot down there pretty much every day, making sure windows are open. John Mercier's received a number of emails, and they are very well aware of the town's concern about mold. So Bill Warner was there on Thursday, and everything was fine. But we will continue to do that until the closing, the end of September, and we will continue to monitor the building.
It says here that our rights end tomorrow.
Our rights don't end tomorrow.
Due diligence period ends for property inspection.
No, they know we're walking the property that right before closing. That's already been discussed.
Unless I'm reading this wrong, this is in black and white.
Our due diligence to let them know if there's any concerns or things that repair need to be done. But that doesn't mean that if we go to walk the building and the building has mold issues or there's other things going on, we have every right to make the school, make them address those issues. It's the date of letting them know about problems or things that need to be addressed. But there's a walkthrough prior to closing.
Yeah, it's inspection of property and due diligence deadline September 10th, 2019.
Right,
But, yeah.
to let them know if there was anything other than those issues that have already been documented, to let them know if we have concerns about them.
Liz, can I address the boundary line for the school?
Public
Brenda
comment,
Buzz,
you can.
I can't.
At public comment, you can.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I think that would be a great point to allow Brenda to speak, because this is a serious document we're voting on right now, and if she has information as a board of education.
It was just the boundary line, you questioned, it's not 10 acres, it's 9 point whatever, because the line is a brook. So that's where they delineated between Swan Hill and the.
I mean,
Yeah, we were
everything has
instructed, so we're-
been discussed 100 times.
I think a million was.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then there's a resolution to approve the MOA regarding payment of $450,000 over 3 years. For whatever reason, the Board of Education did not feel comfortable with just the verbiage that was in the contract, that the town would keep its word to pay the $450,000 as was discussed, as was voted at referendum, and as was discussed at every meeting we had. So they are requesting a separate memorandum of agreement from the town to clarify that the payments of $150,000 be made July 31st, 2020, July 31st, 2021, and July 31st, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. So,
We have visioning
Public.
workshop, right? Still.
so, Bill Warner got approval last week through DECD, the Planning and Zoning Department, Commission, as many of you know, has been looking at what to do with Haddam Center. They've been looking at doing some type of charrettes and some type of workshop to involve the public as to what can go on in the center of town. And they're looking at opportunity of different sites for a possible town garage, development, community sewer. There's a number of things that they're looking at. So Bill applied for a grant, and was awarded the grant of $12,000. I'm requesting that we have a motion to approve the $12,000 and request $12,000 of matching funds from the Board of Finance, so that we can put this workshop on and do our due diligence and really get the community involved and get all the input that we need to move forward and make the decisions that we need to in the center.
I'll make a motion to accept the grant for $12,000 and also send a request to the Board of Finance for an additional $12,000 to match the grant for the design, vision.
And when do they
Shrek
plan on
classes.
doing that?
October. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.